Hi class, good morning. We will now discuss the cash and cash equivalence, which is the first topic under the Intermediate Accounting 1 subject. So our learning objectives for this topic is to understand what is the concept of cash, to understand the concept of cash and cash equivalence, then ano yung mga kailangan i-consider sa cash, then alin yung mga kailangan i-consider sa cash equivalence, and to know the accounting for petty cash fund. Okay, so here we go. Ano ba yung mga laman ng cash or ano yung mga dapat i-include under the cash account? First is the cash on hand. This pertains to all the undeposited cash collections under the custody of the company and yung mga cash na awaiting ng deposit. So anything na nasa hawak pa ni company is cash on hand. Then next, cash in bank. This includes demand deposits or checking account and savings deposit which are unrestricted as to withdrawal. So later on, we will discuss regarding sa restrictions kasi kapag sinabi natin cash, dapat unrestricted or readily convertible or readily available. Then third one na under din ng cash is yung mga cash fund. This pertains naman dun sa mga fund na sinet aside natin for some purposes such as petty cash fund, payroll fund, and dividend fund. So each fund, iba-iba yung purpose. So iba-iba rin yung treatment sa kanila. Hindi lahat ng fund is cash. So let's discuss this in detail later on. Okay, next is the concept of cash equivalent. So ano naman pinagkaiba ng cash and cash equivalents? So diba kanina, yung mga cash is yung mga cash on hand, cash in bank, and mga cash na fund. Yun is talagang readily available or andyan siya na available siyang gamitin in case need ng company. Ang cash equivalents naman is yung mga investment pero short-term and highly liquid that are readily convertible into cash in the near maturity. So, ito yung sinasabi natin under past 7 na only highly liquid investments that are acquired 3 months before maturity can qualify as cash equivalents. So, meron tayong count na dapat 3 months before. So, para saan ba yung bakit 3 months before lang? Dahil, yun yung merong insignificant risk of changes in value because of changes in interest rates. Kasi pag sinabi natin masyadong matagal, like 6 months pa yung maturity niya, so pwedeng malaki pa yung maging impact ng interest rates. So under past 7, kapag nagtitingin tayo kung pwede bang i-include ang isang investment as cash equivalent, we should check kung na-acquire, nabili ba natin yun 3 months before maturity. Okay. So, ayun, yun ang rules para masabing cash equivalent siya. So, equity instruments cannot qualify as cash equivalents because shares do not have a maturity value. So, like kunyari, bumili tayo ng isang instrument, isang stock. Hindi natin siya pwedeng sabihin na cash equivalents dahil wala siyang maturity value. Yung mga preference shares naman na may specified redemption date can qualify as cash equivalents as long as it was acquired 3 months before redemption date. So, ang key rule sa cash equivalents is to check if yung purchase ba niya is 3 months before maturity. Classifications of investments of excess cash. So, kanyari may excess cash ng isang company, then nag-invest sila. Classification will depend kung gaano katagal yung maturity nun. If it's 3 months or less, as discussed earlier, it will be classified as cash equivalents. Pero kapag more than 3 months, pero within 1 year pa rin, it shall be classified as current asset. Kapag more than 1 year naman, long-term investments na yung classification niya. So, let's talk about cash. So, cash is measured at face value. So, face value is, ayun, kung straightforward, kung ano yung total value niya. Walang kailangang i-present value, walang realizable value, ganun. It should be measured at face value. Paano naman kapag foreign currency? Like, yung mga USD tayong USD tayong bank accounts or other foreign currency bank. So, ang kailangan natin gawin at the end is kailangan i-translate natin siya sa Philippine peso using the current exchange rate. So, we need to check kung magkano ba ang isang USD into 1 peso para i-translate yung total cash in bank na nasa foreign currency. Sa presentation naman, ang cash is presented under the current assets, tapos siya yung first line. So, yung details naman nun, ipe-present natin sa notes to financial statement. So, ayan, bigyan ko kayo na isang sample ng financial statement and kung paano pine-present ang isang cash and cash equivalents. So, ito, for example, itong cash and cash equivalents amounting to 21 million is presented under current asset. First line item siya sa current asset. Then, yung details naman niya is pine-present under notes to financial statement. Ito naman isang sample ng cash na nasa notes to financial statement. Screen share ko lang siya. Yan, ito naman yung isang sample. Ayan. Yung cash equivalents under sa notes is pine-present siya as ganito. Binibreakdown yung cash on hand, cash in bank, cash equivalents. Then under the narrative, dinidiscuss kung ito yung cash equivalents na discuss natin kanina na up to 3 months. So, dinidisclose na 3 months or less is pasok dito sa cash equivalents na classification nila. Then, sinasabi rin yung interest rates and kung magkano yung mga na-earn na finance income for that cash equivalents. So, yan. Ito yan. So, going back, cash fund for certain purpose. So, na-discuss ko kanina na yung mga cash fund ay treated as cash and cash equivalents din. So, yung classification nila depends dun sa paggagamitan ng cash fund. So, for example, if it's for current operations such as petty cash fund, payroll fund, travel fund, dividend fund, and tax fund, it can be classified as current assets since the use is current or for operations. Kumbaga parang yung paggagamitan is within 12 months lang. If the use is for non-current asset, like kunyari, nagtabi tayo ng fund, pangbili ng equipment later on, and pang sinking fund, or something na non-current yung asset na mag-generate out of that fund, it should be classified as long-term investment. So, dapat parallel yung classification ng asset dun sa related purpose niya. So, ito naman yung iba't iba pang concepts related sa cash. So, bank overdraft pertains dun sa mga credit balance due to overissuance of checks in excess of deposits. For example, sa isang bank is, nag-deposit ka ng 50,000. Tapos, nag-withdraw ka ng 60,000 or nag-issue ka ng check pala, I mean. So, meron kang negative 10,000 na balance. So, kapag credit na yung balance or over na yung mga na-issue mong checks over sa deposit, ang tawag na doon is bank overdraft. So, according sa accounting, ang kailangan maklasify siya as current liability and hindi siya dapat i-offset sa ibang bank accounts with debit balance. For example, Bank 1, kunyari BPI. May Bank 1 tayo na 50,000 na may 50,000 tayo na negative balance kay Bank 1, kay BPI. Then kay BDO, which is our Bank 2 example, is meron tayong 30,000 na debit balance. Hindi mo pwedeng i-offset na gawing 20,000 na balance kasi dapat i-present mo as current liability separately yung negative, then debit balance yung kay BDO. Pero may exemption sa rule, which is kapag yung credit balance or yung current liability is nasa isang bank. So for example, kay BPI Bank is meron tayong negative 10,000 kunyari. Tapos meron tayong isa pang account under the same bank na 50,000. Pwede mong i-offset yan kasi nasa isang bank lang naman. So pwede mo siyang i-record as offset na 40,000. Next is compensating balance. This pertains naman dun sa minimum balance na dapat maiwan sa bank account. So, yung classification niya, it depends kung restricted or not yung compensating balance. So, kasi kapag sa umpisa pa lang, napag-aagrihan na yun kung yung compensating balance is bawal mo ba withdrawin or pwede mong withdrawin. Kasi ang pinaka-rule sa cash is dapat readily available. So, if the cash the cash compensating balance is legally restricted, if legally restricted, short term yung classification niya and hindi cash. Pero kapag not legally restricted, pwede natin siyang i-qualify as cash. Next. So, ito naman yung mga cash na parang sa point of view ni company is nalabas niya na or na-issue niya na yung pera, pero kailangan palang ibalik. So, let's go through these three types of checks. So, first, undelivered or unreleased checks. Ito yung mga drawn and recorded but not given to the payee before the end of reporting period. So, for example, nag-issue tayo ng cheque ng December 28. So, malapit na yung month end or yung year end. Nag-issue tayo ng check, 20,000 check payable to Mr. A. Kaso nga lang, hindi natin nabigay sa kanya yung cheque. Pero at the day na re-record natin yung check, kunyari nagsuot na tayo nung para kay Mr. A, nag-record na agad tayo ng bawas sa utang natin, debit payable, credit cash at that day. Pero, come December 31, hindi pala natin naabot kay Mr. A yung check. So, ang mangyayari, kailangan i-record natin as cash natin kasi nasa custody pa natin and hindi pa naman natin bayad. So, ang entry to be made is debit cash, credit accounts payable kasi kailangan natin ibalik yung cash kasi hindi naman natin na-release, unreleased check or undelivered check. Next, post-dated check delivered. So, ito naman, may ginawa tayong check, naabot din natin kay Mr. A yung check, pero yung date na pwede niyang i-withdraw yun is subsequent to the end of reporting period. So, let's say, December 28, gumawa ako ng check, payable to Mr. A, binigay ko sa kanya, before December 30, nasa kanya na yung check, so, release na yung check. Kaso nga lang, ang date nun is January 5 pa niya pwedeng kuhanin. So, with that, hindi pa rin lumabas sa atin yung cash and hindi pa rin natin siya nabayaran as of December 31 or end of reporting period. With that, kailangan nating ibalik as cash pa rin natin yung perang yun and tanggalin nyo ay ibalik din yung accounts payable natin kay Mr. A. Kasi post-dated or dated yung check na yun after the reporting period. Stale check. Stale check pertains naman dun sa mga hindi na-encash nung payee. So, kunyari, si Mr. A, binigay natin nung December 28 ang check, nasa kanya na rin, hawak niya, yung date nun is December 28 din, pwede niya encash anytime. So, sa atin, tinanggal na natin sa pera kasi minsan, diba parang pag inabot natin, good as cash na rin ang check. So, pwede na niya i-withdraw anytime. However, hindi niya na-withdraw. Hindi niya na-encash yung check within 6 months. So, anong nangyari? Magiging stale na yon. So, ang stale check, ibig sabihin is hindi niya na-encash. So, ibabalik natin ulit yung cash kasi hanggang ngayon, nasa atin pa rin yung cash na balance na yun. As to the 6 months, according naman kasi sa negotiable instruments law is wala namang required na months kung kailan mo masasabing stale lang isang check. Pero yung 6 months is, ito yung banking practice para masabi na stale lang isang check. So, itong 3 types of checks na to ay cash pa rin as of reporting period since nasa company pa rin talaga yung pera pag tinignan mo yung concept niya. Next, accounting for cash shortage or overage. Paano naman kunyari at the end? So, nag-cash count tayo, tinignan natin sa books natin versus yung cash na hawak natin. So, na-record natin 50,000 yung cash natin as of December 31. Pero nung binilang natin, 40,000 lang. So, 50 versus 40, nagkaroon tayo ng short nung binilang natin yung cash. So, meron tayong two treatments dun. Kapag yung cashier, yung may kasalanan, so depende sa setup nila kung napatunayan na kasalanan ni cashier or siya na yung responsible doon kapag nagkulang, magre-record tayo ng due from cashier, debit nun, then credit ng cash shortage. Then kapag naman tinignan na natin lahat, tapos hindi talaga natin alam kung bakit talaga nagkaroon ng shortage, then wala naman sa agreement na magiging responsible si cashier doon, ang kailangan natin i-record is loss na from cash shortage. Then credit cash shortage. Yan, kapag overage naman, so, kunyari, nakalaman, baliktad naman yung scenario. Yung nag-records tayo, 40,000 yung cash, pero nung nag-count tayo is 50,000. Kapag first scenario is kapag money yun ng cashier, napatunayan natin or nasa agreement na lahat ng overage is kay cashier na, debit cash overage, credit payable to cashier kasi utang natin sa kanya yan. Then, next scenario is kapag hindi yun kay cashier and wala naman nag-claim ng sobra, magiging miscellaneous income na ng company. So, let's talk about petty cash fund. Petty cash fund pertains to the money set aside to pay small expenses which cannot be paid conveniently by means of check. So, ito, every company, meron silang sineset aside na petty cash fund. So, kunyari, may mga urgent expense. Kunyari, bibili lang ng supplies or bibili lang ng ballpen or ng ink ng printer. Mga something na small expenses na hindi na kailangang i-issue pa ng check isa-isa tuwing kailangang gastusin. So, nag-maintain yung company. Usually, mga nasa 10 to 50,000 na petty cash fund. Depende na lang sa laki ng company. So, ayan, may two types ng pag-handle ng mga petty cash fund. First is the impress fund system, and next is the fluctuating fund system. So, paano naman natin i-record using the two different types of petty cash handling? So, first, cash is drawn to establish the fund. Ibig sabihin, paano natin i-record kapag nag-establish tayo ng petty cash and tinanggal natin sa cash in bank? So, both system is same lang yung recording. Debit petty cash fund, credit cash in bank. Kasi tumaas yung petty cash natin and nabawasan yung cash in bank natin. So, yun, na-set up na. So, andito na, hawak na ni petty cash custodian yung cash fund na yun. Next, payment of expenses out of the fund. So, kunyari, may mga expenses, supplies or travel, transport, kunyari, kailangan nila ng pang-jeep or what na pasok sa company expenses. So, kapag impress fund system yan, hindi sila magre-record ng formal journal entries. Instead, ang gagawin nila is mag-record lang sila ng memorandum entries under sa petty cash journal. So, lilista lang nila ano yung mga naging expenses nila, pero walang formal journal entry. Unlike kay fluctuating fund system, magre-record sila every time na may ginagastos sa fund, sa petty cash fund, magde-debit sila ng expenses and credit petty cash fund. Next, replenishment of petty cash payments. So, ito naman, kapag replenish is, kunyari, paubos na yung fund. Yung kunyari, 50,000 na fund nila, pagtingin nila, mga 10,000 na lang. So, i-replenish nila or mag-a-add sila doon. Ang gagawin kapag impress fund system is, i-debit nila yung expenses. So, dito lang nila re-record yung as if nangyari dito na recording ng mga expenses, then credit cash in bank. Kasi pag nag-replenish ka is, kumukuha ka ulit ng pera sa cash in bank. So, anong nangyari? As if yung expenses is nanggaling lang sa cash in bank pa rin. Unlike pag fluctuating, pag nag-replenish ng petty cash payment, kay petty cash fund yung lalaki kasi si petty cash fund din naman yung binawasan natin nung nagkaroon ng payment ng mga expenses. So, the entry kapag fluctuating fund system is debit petty cash fund and credit cash in bank. Next, kay impress fund system, dahil nagkaroon lang ng ganitong entry, magkakaroon ng adjustment to correct the petty cash balance. So, i-record yung should be, should be lang nila magkano ba talaga yung petty cash fund at the end. Kasi kung makikita nyo, from the establishment, hindi na siya ginagalaw during the year. So, itong adjustment na to, adjusting entry na December 31, should be na lang niya magkano ba yung hawak talaga nilang pera. Tapos, yung expenses yung gagawin niyang kabangga dun sa natitirang petty cash fund pa nila. Then, itong letter D na adjustment na to is reversing din siya. Rene-reverse din siya ng January 1. Unlike kay fluctuating fund system, is wala nang adjustment needed kasi tama naman yung petty cash fund, tama naman expenses, naka-should be lahat ng balance. Unlike dito na hindi niya agad record yung payment ng expenses. So, ayun, yung paggamit ng fund system varies from company to company kung ano yung mas prefer nila. Pero, according dun sa mostly na used is mostly impress fund system yung gamit ng mga companies. So, ayan. Let's try some sample problems para ma-try natin kung naintindihan natin yung concepts ng cash and cash equivalents and ano yung mga dapat i-include para sa recording. So, given this example, the company have cash on hand amounting to 200,000, cash in bank amounting to 2 million, petty cash fund amounting to 10,000, commercial paper with maturity of 2 months amounting to 500,000, treasury bill with maturity of 6 months amounting to 1 million, and post-dated customer checks amounting to 100,000. So, try and compute magkano ang magiging total amount ng cash and cash equivalents ni B company given yung mga discussion natin kanina. I'll give you a minute for that. So, okay, discuss natin isa-isa kung alin ba dapat ang kasama sa cash and cash equivalents. Yan, sana tama din yung sagot na 2,710,000. Kasi first, ang sabi nga natin kanina, ang cash, ang inclusive ng cash is, ang included sa cash ay yung cash on hand, cash in bank, and cash fund. So, check na check tayo sa cash on hand, cash in bank. Tapos sa cash fund, ang cash fund, kasama lang ang mga for current operations or yung mga pang short-term use, such as petty cash fund. So, kasama si petty cash fund sa cash natin. So, commercial paper with maturity of 2 months. Kasama siya kasi cash equivalents, ang rule natin ay 3 months. So, before siya, so pasok si commercial paper. Si treasury bill, ang maturity niya ay 6 months pa. So, hindi siya included kasi dapat 3 months. Post-dated customer checks. So, ito yung sabi natin kanina. Mayroong isang check na binigay kay in-issue na. So, technically, dapat hindi na natin siya cash. Kaso nga lang, yung date na nakalagay doon is after December 31 pa. So, hindi ma-in-cash nung pinagbayaran natin. So, cash pa natin siya as of December 31, 2020. Okay, another example. Ito naman, magkano lang ang cash na dapat sa year-end? The company provided the following information at year-end compromising its cash account. Tingnan natin, may kailangan ba tayong tanggalin dito sa mga cash na to para makuha natin yung total cash ni D company? Cash in bank checking account. So, di ba sabi natin, cash in bank ay part ng cash. So, check. Cash on hand. 400,000. Part ba siya ng cash? Oo naman, kasi yun yung mga hawak nilang cash. Postage stamps unused. Ito, hindi naman talaga to cash kasi ito ay mga supplies. Kasi mga postage stamps na hindi daw nagamit, hindi mo yun pera. Certificate of time deposit with maturity of 3 months. Cash ba natin siya? Hindi. Pero cash equivalent natin siya kasi time deposit siya na with maturity of 3 months. So, pasok siya sa cash equivalent but not sa cash. Money order and manager's check are also type of cash. So with that, ang total na cash natin is 5,500,000. Ayan, yun lang muna yung mga problems natin. Then let's try to answer yung mga nasa box na problem and discuss yung mga nako-confuse kayo kung alin ba dapat yung isama, alin ba dapat yung i-record under cash and cash equivalents. So, ito yung na-discuss natin. First, the next discussion is yung bank reconciliation and proof of cash. Both of these are included sa concepts ng cash. So, ayan lang. That's all. Thank you, class.